Homeowners who illegally change the use of their properties warned of the penalties. Business people looking to expand across Caricom told there are standards to be met. And a recount of the ballots from the urban council election results in no significant change in outcome. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details after this. We begin with this stern warning issued to property owners in Roseau and around Dominica to desist from illegal practices. The call came from Development Control Officer with the Physical Planning Division, Eric Shillingford. Shillingford spoke against the backdrop of property owners who do not get approval for a change of use from the Physical Planning Division. The Development Control Officer explains that when a building is constructed for use for one function, if the owner plans to change the use of any section of the building, approval for change of use must be sought from the Physical Planning Division.
When we look at the question of change of use, there are several considerations from a planning standpoint. One, the parking requirements. Two, fire requirements, environmental health requirements, and then planning has other considerations. And there are certain situations where we'd have to send to electrical division. The majority of our buildings in Dominica, they were designed for residential purposes. Now, what has happened over the years, in a quest to get rental space, you would have those buildings being converted for commercial use, be it for shops, be it for barber shops, as you said, be it for restaurant. You would have some of them being changed for institutional use, be it for churches, and you have other buildings that are being changed for the use of, say, daycares, primary schools, and whatever.
There are several property owners around the country who lease out sections of their buildings to provide different services which were not in the original building plan. When asked what the Physical Planning Division does to clamp down on these illegal practices, here's what Shillingford had to say.
We are working with the Ministry of Education, for example, and I must say the Ministry of Education, whenever existing preschools or daycares and the new ones, they ask them to apply for planning permission. In terms of other existing situations, I cannot tell you that much has been done. And as time goes on, we see the need for more to be done. In the past, we've asked persons who've done change of use to actually go to the fire department, to go to environmental. We encourage them. But we see the need right now to actually take a more proactive stance on the whole matter of change of use.
Shillingford says there are fines under the Physical Planning Act which should deter those who do not get change of use approval. He admonished Dominicans to put their safety first when setting up various establishments.
Look at the question of a preschool, for example. I've had instances where you have preschools at second floor or even third floor situations where you have only one entry exit. Also, the lighting and ventilation is below what would be required by the Physical Planning Division. Under the Physical Planning Act, if, say, for example, somebody were to do a change of use, I would send them what I call a warning alert. That is a document telling them of impending legal action. If they do not take the requisite action, then it will be followed up by a compliance notice. And if they still do not take the requisite action, the law permits to also take them to court.
And also making the news, construction has started on a new administrative building at Princess Margaret Hospital. This will be the first building to be constructed on the PMH site following the groundbreaking ceremony for the new National Hospital in August. A government press release has warned residents near the hospital as well as clients of the hospital that they will likely experience an increase in noise, disruptions and excess dust. The public is being asked to be cautious when using that section of the hospital grounds. Work on the administrative building is expected to last until November of this year. And now business people in Dominica looking to establish themselves in Caricom countries are being cautioned to adhere to stipulations set out to protect the Caricom region. Deputy Program Officer for the Free Movement and Labour Department of the Caricom Secretariat says while it is good business sense to expand commerce across the region, entrepreneurs must be aware of the standards set in order to maintain good business and financial relations among the various member states.
Basically, what we are trying to say here is that when a member state does not adhere, there's cost implication, there's damage to your international character and stuff. It is too much. We need to reduce the damage we are doing to ourselves. Rhodesian beverages was the issue where Guyana, kind of unfair restriction the bottled water. They've had to end up paying 10 million. Yes, about 10 million back to the company in Suriname. And so we want to send home and reinforce the need for us to do the right things as member states in dealing with businesses and dealing with Caricom nationals.
Smith assured Caricom nationals do have a right to establish a business in other Caricom member states, and the Secretariat is putting measures in place to reduce the number of international companies which take advantage of the system.
The business will have to be owned at least 50%, Council? 51% by the Caricom national. Again, we are aware that there are a lot of international companies that are setting up using Caricom nationals fronting for them as Caricom nationals under these regimes, but there's never a perfect system and people will always find ways to beat the system. It is for us to create rigor in the system to reduce the abuse of the system. Under Articles 30 and 31 of the revised treaty then, you as a Caricom national can start up a business and continue to operate a business in any member state.
The Deputy Program Officer says Caricom is working to ensure favorable business conditions across the region in order to promote economic growth among member states.
We have to create at home the environment for us to do business and to grow business and to support each other in business, and this is what this is all about. There are a number of restrictions to entry of business. Under the right of establishment, you are free to move your managerial, technical, and supervisory staff with you.
And the country, which is home to a quarter of one of the world's critically endangered amphibians, has joined the international community in raising awareness of the plight of this particular animal. Andrea Louis explains.
Dominica, which is home to the mountain chicken frog, or crapo as it is locally known, joined the rest of the world in observing Mountain Chicken Awareness Day on Tuesday. According to the Forestry, Wildlife and Parks Division, there are approximately 115 tagged mountain chickens here in Dominica and under 500 worldwide. The Zoological Society of London, ZSL, has been playing a critical part in helping Dominica revive its mountain chicken population, which has been severely depleted as a result of the chytrid fungus discovered here in 2002.
Worldwide, there's less than 500 frogs left, and that's the whole worldwide population. So if the population on Dominica goes, that's it really for the frogs. There's no real coming back unless we just captive breed them away from the Caribbean, which is a real shame if that does happen. So yeah, the frog, we need to protect this frog. Definitely need to protect it, otherwise it's gone from history, from the world, just gone. So it's in a pretty bad state right now.
The low mountain chicken population has been apparent in different parts of the country, and Dominicans are being reminded that it is illegal to hunt them.
Since the disappearance of the species, we have seen, an increase in the population of slugs and snails, and that is part of the diet of that species. So you can understand the importance. Here we're now talking about the importance of the species. It's not just for, food, but also it has that role in facilitating farmers. There's a ban on the hunting of frogs, and that is in effect. And we would like for persons, to adhere to that ban. And so we would want to call on persons not to hunt the few animals that are in the wild.
The mountain chicken population in the wild is slowly improving despite the presence of the chytrid fungus. The farming community in particular is being encouraged to play its part in protecting this critically endangered animal.
What we want to urge farmers who have mountain chicken on their land is to practice safe farming, safe farm management. If you're farming close to a river, don't throw your grammar zone containers, or don't leave your pollution items in the landfill. If you know mountain chicken is on your land, we'd advise you to practice cutting bush with cutlass instead of spraying with grammar zone. Or do not practice slash and burn, try and do weed management. and as well to person that maybe hunting stop illegal hunting, because we need the mountain chicken to come back.
As part of activities for Mountain Chicken Awareness Day, an exhibition was held at the Interpretation Center to bring greater awareness to the Mountain Chicken Recovery Program. This year's Mountain Chicken Day was observed in Dominica under the theme, Working Together to Save the Critically Endangered Mountain Chicken. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, we speak with the man who topped the urban council elections on Monday. Thank you for staying with us. Police have identified a woman's body discovered in a wreckage near Bioche on Monday as that of Miss Lee Roll of Bellevue-Chopin. Here is Deslin Joseph.
Relatives say she was last seen on Saturday before she left for Portsmouth. The 28-year-old was the mother of 4. Her children's father commented on Facebook that she was a great mother, a fierce lover, and a dear friend. He went on to say his heart goes out to her angels who now have it harder than it should ever be for a child. A close friend says her children were her priority and she lived for them. She never wanted them to grow up without a mother like she did. Her last post on Facebook states, "I'm gonna love you till I'm dead," which is why this news is so difficult for her loved ones. Deslin Joseph, Channel 5 News.
And a ballot recount from Monday night's urban council election has not resulted in any significant changes. A team supported by outgoing village council chairman Simeon Albert failed to win the local elections, making way for a new team to emerge as the people's choice. Musician Maxime Powell leads that new team with 183 votes, followed by Joyce Dupy 161, Michael Copel 159, Ingrid Abram 152, and Michael Timothy 151 votes. I spoke with Maxime Powell as he emerged from Tuesday's recount.
Because of the way we came out with 5, government is in no position to determine the chairmanship, even if they brings in their 3 nominated members.
Okay. Now, going forward, talk about the whole issue of cooperation and reaching across the floor to, across, boundaries. And because we know, I mean, the public has been looking at this and there's basically been 2 camps as far as we've seen it. I imagine you guys are beginning to think, let's consolidate, let's work together for the betterment of the community. How are you guys intending to reach out across the floor to others?
Well, Julian, to be honest, we were always reaching out, it was really 2 teams ran, but with us, it was no animosity or no enmity. We went out to the people, and even at the recount, if you check it, I got a lot of their votes on their side because I'm a people's person in Kingsfield. I can walk, if not in every house, without a rejection in Kingsfield. So when it comes to going out and get my votes, I knock on every door. Like I said, our team was different colors, 1 people and 1 community, and that's the team we used, walked around and...
What do you think, Mr. Powell, account for the just about 200 people who turned out to vote? Is that significant for you?
About 300, and to be exact, about 307 or so.
In relation to past urban council elections, how does that figure measure up?
Basically the same as the last time, from what I was told, but I was out of state that time. But the time before that, the previous time when I ran, the vote count was higher.
Okay. Yeah, so this is of no significance, the drop?
The drop, no significance really. Yeah.
Okay. So basically going forward for you guys, what is the first order of business for you guys? I mean, beyond inauguration and all that?
Well, to be honest, to begin with, we need to sit with our resourceful people in the community. That's one of the first steps, to meet with our resourceful people so we can sit and develop a plan, an action plan, so we can take the community forward. Because you see, 8 of us going to be sitting on a council, but without the community with us, we can't move forward. We have to move Kingsfield with the community. Just 8 members on a council cannot move a community.
And outgoing chairman of the Kingsfield Urban Council has expressed disappointment at the results of Monday's election, where the team he backed lost. Simeon Albert says Mr. Powell is not a resident of Kingsfield and should not have contested the election since 2 major objections were filed against him. I asked Mr. Albert why he thought the turnout for this election was so low.
And clearly it shows that a number of residents did not, either they were not properly informed or just did not participate care to vote in this election.
Why do you think that is so? People losing interest in these things or what?
Well, I think over the years I have been running for the council and mobilizing a number of people. Of course, the council election has been more hyped, and therefore people were more aware, and the turnout was much more different than what we've ever seen this year. And I think it has a lot to do with that.
Do you think your decision not to contest this year, people figured, look, if he's not going to go up or contest, we're going to stay home? Do you think that's what might have happened?
Well, I got that impression from a number of persons who I did contact, and I said, are you not going to vote? And they said, well, but you're not running again. I'm like, even if I'm not running, you know, and then so I think people were more laid back because they felt that I was no longer on the ballot, and then they were not motivated in the very same sense like they have been for many years.
But you did put your support behind those of the team.
Well, certainly I had no choice but to support who I felt, the people who I felt were more educated, were qualified, and would have been able to bring greater development in working with the government for this community.
Albert says he's concerned about what he terms was unfair business taking place during Monday's election.
I saw the father of Michael Coppell actually serving people with papers where Coppell and Maxime Powell and the rest of the candidates' names were within less than 24 miles from the council. I objected to it, and in objecting to it, there were two of the senior citizens whose documents were given to them, paper were given to them, who handed it over to the returning officer who called the police. The police then engaged the Mr. Oscar Coppell and those who were distributing these papers. My understanding is that the returning officer did conduct an investigation into the matter. I do not know what the outcome will be, but I look forward to finding that out.
The former chairman says the decision of the majority has to be respected, but the burden to deliver for the people is now on the new team.
Obviously, whoever was fighting to be in there, who the people elect, will have 3 years to prove themselves. Failure to prove themselves, obviously, the people will make the decision after that.
That's news. Sports is next with Kenny Williams.
First up, repair work at Windsor Park has been completed ahead of cricket games to be held there next year. This according to the Minister for Sports, who says the stadium needs to be prepared ahead of sporting activities.
Well, even before the last financial year, we had some money set aside for recovery of some of the part of the stadium. And if you notice, that has been completed, and we had it brought onto the new year because of the time, because the zinc had to be ordered and all of that took a little time. So, but we've completed one phase, so we will be moving definitely into the third phase. So $600,000 was budgeted in this year's budget towards the repair of the roof. We've mandated the stadium board and the manager of the stadium and the Cricket Association, all of them to walk through and give us an assessment of where we are in terms of the stadium and what has to be done, because we are preparing ourselves for cricket next year. So we do not want to wait last minute, and we want to make sure that the standard at the stadium is maintained.
And the Sports Minister has a plan for addressing the lighting issues at the Windsor Park.
We are aware that sometimes, you have to go up there regularly, to check the bulbs and to make sure that the light, the volume of light that you require for night games is adequate. So what we've done, in fact, we've just received quite a number of bulbs from China, because we still have the Chinese maintenance team at the stadium who, from time to time, based on the requirements, they order the things, and so we are now preparing to go into another year of the technical phase. So usually they ask for what are the things that we require, and they seek it, and then so I can tell you we have bulbs to replace all of the bulbs that are missing on the lights. So definitely we will see that being done.
She says an upgraded scoreboard is among the plans for improving the quality of service at the stadium.
As it pertains to the scoreboard, we have already received tender documents from about 3 people because we want, in fact, quotes from about 3 different organizations for the scoreboard, because we are going to replace it. As you may well know, I mean, with ICT, things become obsolete very, very fast, and you want to make sure that when you have your international matches, that all of your equipment are functioning and functioning properly. So we are definitely going to replace the scoreboard. So we are trying to expedite it.
In cricket, West Indies head coach Phil Simmons has been sacked. Reports from ESPN Cricinfo indicate that Simmons, who had moved to coach West Indies from Ireland following last year's World Cup, learnt of his termination of his contract on Tuesday. Simmons' journey as West Indies coach was rocky once he made his thoughts public, soon after not being allowed to pick what he felt was the best squad for the ODI series in Sri Lanka last year. As a result, the WICB suspended him briefly before allowing him back to his role as head coach once both parties resolved to sort out the matter amicably. He went on to coach West Indies to the World T20 final when they beat England in April. The recent test series against India finished on a 2-0 defeat. However, confirmation of Simmons' departure came the day West Indies' limited overs squad was scheduled to leave for the United Arab Emirates, where they will play 3 T20 internationals and 3 ODIs starting September 23. Next up, WICB President Dave Cameron says 2 critical areas of concern re West Indies cricket are the men's performances in the one-day international and the test formats of the game. An internal task force has been set up for 2 years to give recommendations on the cricket product.
The 2 risks that were identified, 2 major risks that were identified in our business at this point in time, is the men's team performances in ODI and Test cricket, which we continue to take under serious review. The other one was the Professional Cricket League, now to start its 3rd year in November. And as such, we've set up an internal task force to review the operations for the last 2 years and to recommend, to give us recommendations going forward and improving it.
He says there has been some improvement in the PCL Regional 4-Day Tournament.
Well, last season, the performances improved quite significantly. Batting, bowling, we had about 16 players, if I'm not mistaken, with averaging over 45 in the season. We had a number of wicket takers taking in excess of 40 wickets. But what we had was predominance of spin bowlers again. So that's something we need to look at. The review is going to do less about the cricketing, but more about the support behind the players. So we need to ensure that the players are given the full support in order to achieve. We're talking about the marketing support around the franchise so that they can get more resources to help the players. We're talking about making sure that they have the physios and all of those things in place.
Basketball action takes us to Trafalgar with a clash between the 2016 DABA playoff title contenders, Fashion Line Falcons and Fast Cash Prowlers on Wednesday. In their previous game, the teams could only play to the 2nd quarter due to persistent rainfall at Pishley on Saturday, where the scores were 55-52 in favor of Falcons. Weather permitting, the two should put on a good game for the fans at 8 p.m. Moving on to Rounders, where Maxroy Royal Challengers topped the points table in the National Giant Malls Rounders League, having won all 4 games played. Maxroy is on 12 points with Viking Reformers 2nd with 10, Stowe & Co Hard Hitters and Dubla Almond Stars 3rd on 9. The top 4 teams from each zone will go to the next round of 16, with Zone 1 matching against Zone 4 and Zone 2 against 3. Meantime, in the most recent games, NCC Udom Stars beat Police Sports Club by 9 wickets. Police batting first scored 219 all out. Alison Lander 40, Leanne Luke 39, and Beryl Blondell 38. Domsetco Stars replied with 224 for 2 in 17.5 overs. Marsha Baron Peters scored 74. And St. Joe Phoenix defeated Fantastic Stars by 9 wickets. Stars had first knock and scored 317 for 4. Y. Burton 63, Yvette Mingo 63, and Roseanne Flora 56. Set 318 to win, Phoenix scored 319 for 2. Shanice Marshall made 117 not out, Shelley Warrington 62, and Marilyn Toussaint 40. The league continues on Sunday. That's all the sporting highlights for now. Be sure to join us tomorrow.
Your weather forecast is coming up next.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am your presenter, Annie Carretto Joseph. Weak and stable conditions as a result of a weak surface trough resulted in generally partly cloudy skies across the region. Visible satellite imagery showed partly cloudy skies over Dominica throughout the course of today. Radar imagery indicated minimal shower activity across the Lesser Antilles. Conditions for tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy with some scattered showers, and these general weather conditions expected to continue into tomorrow, Wednesday. Sea conditions, slight to moderate in open water with waves up to 5 feet. Taking a look at the extended forecast, weak and stable conditions will continue to affect the rest of the week, resulting in partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers tomorrow, Wednesday. On Thursday and Friday, mostly cloudy skies with some scattered showers. Some possible thunderstorm activity and light winds are expected on Thursday. Across the region tomorrow, generally fair skies expected over the extreme northern portions of the island chain, with some partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers over the leewards and some possible thunderstorm activity over the southern half of the region. On the international scene, clear skies in New York and in Beijing, some overcast skies in Miami, partly cloudy skies for London, and some thunderstorm activity in Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:54 a.m. and set at 6:08 p.m. For up-to-date information, log on to our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and join us next time. Good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Homeowners who illegally change the use of their properties warned of the penalties. Business people looking to expand across Caricom told there are standards to be met. And a recount of the ballots from the urban council election, the results there show no significant change in outcome. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsSept13th2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.